one scene in particular at the end, and I won't spoil that for you, but I think that was a really interesting thing to add, and I didn't predict that they would show that. Hi there, welcome to my channel, Reviews with Jules. Everything from reviews to quizzes to watch lists, and that's all on my channel. So if that interests you, make sure to click that subscribe button. And today I'm going to be talking about the newest season of Hanna that dropped on Amazon Prime. Now, I was up all night binge watching this, so I am a little bit tired. I do have bags under my eyes, but I was just so excited to bring you this review. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Hanna is a coming-of-age drama. In this season, there are 8 episodes of around 50 minutes in length. There are 2 seasons and both are available on Amazon Prime. Season 2 starts straight where Season 1 left off, and if you can't remember what happened, I do have a recap for Season 1 over here, and I do have a review of Season 1 over here, so you can pause this video, check that out, and come back later. But for those of you who do remember or have already watched Season 2, I will get into the premise. So basically, Hanna and Clara, who is also known as Trainee 249, have just escaped from U-Tracks and they are living in the forest. All the trainees got moved and they've gone to a place called the Meadows, which is in the north of England. The trainees are told that they're going to start undergoing the next process of their training, which is the socialisation part. They are given new names, they are given a fake family, and one trainee in particular really gets caught up in this, and that is Sandy. Now, she starts believing that this fake family is real. Now, I will get onto something about Sandy later because I'm still not sure how I feel about her character. After Clara found out that she has a biological mother, she then wants to go and find her, and even though Hanna says it's not safe, let's stay in this forest, obviously Clara doesn't, and she goes and finds help. After Marissa helps the CIA capture Clara, she stays at the hotel for a bit longer, and that is when Hanna rejoins. Now, Marissa takes Hanna under her wing and protects her, taking her back to her Parisian apartment, dyeing and cutting Hanna's hair to the blonde that we know from the film. So Marissa tries to give Hanna a new life by cutting her hair, getting her a passport, but of course, Hanna just wants to go and save Clara. At first, when Clara goes into the Meadows, she isn't exactly comfortable and she's a little bit upset that she was fooled to go there in the first place, but she does make friends with Sandy, Jules and Helen, and that is when Hanna comes along. So Hanna finally breaks in to the Meadows. Clara doesn't actually want to leave by this point, so then she starts telling Sandy, and Sandy is this sort of goody two-shoes girl next door character, and then she goes and tells the big honchos of the place, and then they shut it down. Hanna is trapped and Marissa is taken hostage. Hanna and Jules are given a task to go and assassinate a journalist. Now, they haven't been told what it is, just that she's got classified information that she will leak. The guy who is the source is this guy called Richard, and he goes to Barcelona, and then so Clara and Sandy are sent to kill him. So there are 2 assassinations going on, one in the UK and one in Barcelona. And then this whole sequence happens at the end, and all I will say is, of course, Hanna comes out on top. I'm going to dive straight in and say what I didn't like, and that was the fighting. Not because there was some, but because there wasn't the right type for me. In Season 1, you see Hanna doing all this like really big fight choreography, and in Season 2, it is more just like gun, pow pow, pow pow. There isn't much fighting actually going on for me personally in comparison to the both seasons. Additionally, Hanna is sort of like the beeline story in this, and obviously considering it is called Hanna, you would hope that she would make a lot more of a big feature, and she doesn't. The one thing that I did really love is the fact that Hanna's character seemed more confident, more sure of herself, and she seemed a lot more elevated than the other trainees. And that is also because we've seen her journey throughout whole of Season 1, and now we're seeing her journey start from Season 2, thinking, right, my dad has died, I now have to take on this responsibility of caring for Clara and training her and almost being the Eric. And I think that made a really interesting arc in her character from season 1. Having said that, I don't think she made much of an arc throughout the whole of this season, and I think it was kind of flatlined, and because she was the B storyline, so I didn't really feel like Hannah's character was properly integrated or focused on this series. One scene in particular at the end, and I won't spoil that for you, but I think that was a really interesting thing to add, and I didn't predict that they would show that, so I thought that that was quite a nice conclusive ending for Clara's story. I wouldn't say that Clara was one of my favourite characters. I'd actually put her in the least favourite character because she was just kind of one-tone moody throughout the whole thing. Sandy was a weird one because she was this typical girl next door, the blonde with the sort of cute dungarees and sort of flouncing around, and she was acting a little bit dim. And then when she was in the battleground, when she went to go and do this assassination, she just got really angry and she was like, this is a job I need to do, pow pow, you are dead. And she was so like going for it and gunning for it, which is so out of character for the person she was. But here's the thing, they are pretend lives. So was she so in that pretend life that it kind of was so convincing that that was her and she was convincing other people, and in actual fact she was this hardcore, pissed off, assassination, moody teenage girl? I'm like, is she both? Was she pretending to be one, or was she actually another? So that's what I found really interesting about her character. But I think it might have been nice if she is pretending and that is her real personality, to have maybe seen like little bits and droplets throughout the rest of the season prior to that. The relationship that Marissa and Hannah had in this season was so endearing, and that was the one main thing about Hannah's storyline as well as Marissa, that she kept going after her. This is the other thing though, there are a couple of times where Hannah had the chance to leave and she wanted to save Clara, and then Clara didn't want to be saved, so then they both got screwed over, and then Marissa was beaten really badly. And I think if I was Marissa, I'd be like, look, I've given you a couple of chances now, so I'm off, I'm not getting beaten up anymore. But she was, yeah, she just was by Hannah's side the whole way, so I think that sort of loyalty in that character was so lovely. The ending as well, with the list and the assassinations that happen, there wasn't anything in the beginning of the series to say that this was going to be the ending, so it did really feel like 3 different segments. It felt like Clara running away, the meadows and seeing the trainees and Hannah go there, and then randomly attached onto the end, these assassinations. So I kind of felt like they should have integrated that more into the storyline as like a sub-storyline. Maybe some of the flashbacks come in a little bit earlier, because we would have been like, oh, what's this? And the ending would have made a lot more sense and less of a surprise tacked on ending. There were a couple new faces this season, including Leo and Terry. Now Terry is like a new CIA person, and she signs an NDA to then come onto the U-Track plan, and she is the one who, as well as creating the trainees' new life and name, I really liked her character arc because she starts obviously becoming attached to the trainees because she's watching them all the time, she's building up these portfolios of their lives. So I really felt like she was an underrated character in this season, and I really hope if there is a season 3 we do see more of her story. The one thing I loved about season 1 was that it was a mixture of coming of age as well as high action drama, and I kind of felt like it was a little bit mismatched in this season, and the tone was more like just like a drama. There was that coming of age element with the trainees, but not necessarily Hannah. And with the trainees, it was more boring because Hannah was actually out in the real world experiencing things, drugs and boys and all this sort of stuff. But the trainees were experiencing it just in the facility of the Meadows, and most of which was being orchestrated. I do hope that there's going to be a season 3 because I do love this series, but I did prefer season 1 for the reasons I said over season 2, but season 2 is still a great watch, and one that I obviously binged watched the whole night, so it's got to be good enough. A binge-worthy action series that will have you gripped on the edge of your seat, which is why I gave Hannah season 2 4 Jules. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up so I know to make more content like it, and in the meantime you can watch these reviews right here. See ya!